Hey, and welcome to Superhero Speak. I'm your host, Dave.
And I'm the other host, Don.
And it's a Sunday night. We're back live. I don't know what we're talking about, but we'll figure it out. No, we got a couple things we're talking about. Not much going on though. Lots of rumors, lots of things. There is some annoying news that we will talk about. It's all rage bait. No, there's no actual original ideas anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about so yeah, let's say what we're gonna talk about. We got uh the who is gonna be the first villain possibly in the X-Men movies for the MCU. Uh the future of a couple characters that we haven't heard from in a while, the Eternals and War Machine. I thought that was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna be discussing the reveal in the Marvel comics of who killed Peter Parker's parents. Ooh. And we're going to be talking about the live action the Zelda movie that Legend of Zelda, which I completely forgot they were making. But we have some news on that. James, yep. Good day, gentlemen. Good day to you, sir.
Yes, good day, Mr. Burton.
Yeah, so that's what's on tap. Does that sound like enough BS to make an episode?
Absolutely. I think so.
Right.
We got some salacious stuff there.
Salacious, that's the term. All right. So how are you doing with all that said? How was your week or your last few days? Anything new and interesting in your world? Anything old and boring?
Nothing really new, excuse me. Tore down a deck in the back of the house there, which actually got a lot of done, which was really cool. And just got back from kind of like the first summer barbecue of the year. And, one part of that, I guess, is my brother-in-law. We shoot guns, and he's got this new Scar high-powered rifle. So we took a little hike in the back of the woods and lit it off. And boy, that was fun. My shoulder is kind of beat up though, because that one, I mean, that type of gun has a lot of recoil. And even if you're standing like 5 feet behind the person shooting it, there's a shock wave. It's crazy. So that was fun. How about you, Dave? What's I think I saw a new painting and whatnot. How's your week going?
It's going okay. Nothing too exciting. Yeah, I realized I've got I had 5 paintings in progress, different states of being worked on. So I finished the one and did post that on social media. I wanted to do a a Bob Ross style painting. So everything that I've learned from watching Bob Ross videos and whatnot, but not actually copying one of his, just like take it out of my head and put it on the canvas. And I got a lot of compliments on it. In fact, a good friend of mine who is a Marvel comic cover artist by the name of Gregory Horn commented and said it was really good. So
it's always nice.
That was nice to have someone who I know and whose opinion when it comes to art I respect say, hey, this is a really good painting.
Yeah.
That felt good. And another one of my friends who always points out, always comments on my paintings, is like, oh, this is the best one you've done yet. So yeah, I was proud of that. I do have a couple, like I said, that are in the works. I'll be posting those soon. But yeah, in fact, one of the things I was working on is I told you a Star Wars painting, but it's like I have to wait for parts of it to dry before I can work on the next part. That's why it's taken a while. So Oh, James is commenting. He said, "It's a cool painting. I saw it. There's layers with the trees. I dug it." Yes, that was what I was going for. Lots of layers to create distance. So yeah. Oh, James says the Ballad of Nod books arrived last night. Cool.
Awesome.
And then yeah, and then another thing, I saw this. So it's funny because Bob Ross has been gone for 20 years now, I think, but there's still the Bob Ross company, right? And um, they do a lot of different things still. They actually have trained teachers that go around the country and do classes and stuff. But I joined they have a Discord. I joined their Discord and the Facebook group, and I did this thing and I was like, oh, that's cool. He created a stand using like a piece of wood, but then put magnet tape around it. So like all your big brushes would have metal on it. You just stick to the thing.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I got some of that and put it on the side of my easel, and I just stick my big brushes on there now when I'm done
Nice.
while I'm working. So it's a nice
Yeah.
solution for storing them because they're big and they're
Yeah.
not your traditional painting brushes. So yeah, that was my excitement for the week. Not really much more. You know, Karen and I are on season 2 of Ted Lasso, and we're like, I think 5 episodes in, 4 episodes in. No, 5. But yeah, there was a Christmas episode which they didn't do in the first season. It was weird. But it was fun. So, but it's weird watching a Christmas episode in
Yeah.
summer.
Yeah. June 1st.
Yeah.
That reminds me actually, something I should, I guess, as what's new, I should have included. My wife is actually watching through Naruto with me. We're like on
Wow.
the 6th episode. I don't know what's up. All of a sudden, she kind of became open. I actually, she was like watching like an anime with her friend, and I was like, what the hell? And so I think it is at that point she's giving it a chance there for my sake. But yeah. Sorry. So that just, you reminded me of that.
Ah, well, there you go. That sounds fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, just don't go to Texas and watch it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, we had
some legal barriers.
So yeah, that's it. I guess all that being said, there's that guy. He's always hanging around and he wants to tell you where you can find more superhero speak, but don't trust him because he's a Sith Lord. But here he is anyway.
Darth Don here. You must subscribe to Superhero Speak if you haven't already. If you have already, make another account and subscribe again. You also will like this video. While you're on the HoloNet, go to superheroespeak.com. Find the links to our merch and purchase one of our shirts. Don't skimp on the shipping, or else I will trap you in a box with an agitated gun dog named Brie Lawson. I would just force lightning you, but we don't have that in the effects budget. Now, back to the show.
So, Don.
Yeah.
You are our resident X-Men expert around here.
Sure.
And there has been some talking about the upcoming movies, and the person that is most likely to be the villain of the first MCU X-Men movie is Mr. Sinister. And I'm kind of curious what you think of him as the main protagonist for an X-Men movie.
Yeah, I love that actually. I think that, as far as X-Men villains, Mr. Sinister would be the biggest villain that never really got his time to shine when it came to the X-Men of the Fox universe.
Yeah.
Now, they did hint toward him, particularly with
Yes.
the New Mutants.
Oh yeah.
But even before that, the Essex Corporation was mentioned.
Yep.
Um, so I can definitely see him. I mean, if you said, "Hey Don, what should be the X-Men's first villain?" I guess I would default to Magneto, but they could. I mean, for all intents, they may include that shit in a flashback or something. Like I feel they're gonna go right off the bat with a more sympathetic route toward Magneto.
Yeah.
So if he's not going to be it, then yeah, Nathaniel Essex would be a good villain since he's been around a long time. And yeah, I just good shit. I like it.
Um. Yeah, that's actually what I was thinking too, because obviously we just talked about in the last episode. There's all this talk about who's going to play Professor X and who's going to play Magneto, and it's like,
You know,
okay, but if you're going to have Magneto in the movie, why isn't he the main villain? And it's like, oh, because I do think they're going that more sympathetic route, or they're going to maybe play a game where he leads mutants on
yeah,
Krakoa. Um, and what I'm saying, like maybe he leads, like he rules over that somehow, and they don't get involved until something happens, and then Mr. Sinister
yeah,
comes along. Like I think they're going to do something different with Magneto in
yeah.
the MCU.
I could see that because also another thing, another angle that they could do. You just mentioned Krakoa. Well, excuse me, there was another mutant island before that, Genosha, and he even mentions
Yes.
that in Marvel Rivals, and he and
Yeah.
Magneto is the one to establish that. So
Okay.
if we talk about going on a sympathetic route, um, they could really make that, because again we've talked about the Holocaust and Magneto being around since the 1940s. That could present a problem, and as much as I really don't want to see it, I kind of think that's exactly, they're going to get around that. They're going to go around that.
Yeah.
And so one way to build up that tragedy, that sympathetic element, is to show how Magneto made this mutant island, this peaceful mutant island, and then along came Bolivar Trask and his Sentinels, and then boom, millions of mutants under his, in his country that he made, they're gone, and boom, now we have, Magneto. He's sympathetic, but he's also going to do some shit against the humans.
Right.
But is he a villain? It's going to be hard to label him that.
Because didn't they do that in the X-Men animated series? Like at first, they don't really say World War II and concentration camp. Like they show he's on this island and it's a peaceful island and there's other mutants and they come and attack. Like they kind of did that in the animated series. They kind of
They
danced
did.
around um, Holocaust survivor because it was a cartoon. So yeah, I feel like you're right. Like they could do something similar in the movies because they already got away with it in the cartoons. So yeah, I really think that's what they're going to do. I could be wrong, but I do think because Mr. Sinister and not Magneto is the villain and all these things. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think they're going to do something. They're going to pull something out of their hat that you're not expecting. Like I don't know, bringing the Eternals back.
Oh, jeez.
No, no, no. I don't know. No. So I'm trying to remember. Let me see if I can bring the article up. It was an interview with uh where is it? One of the guys who's Perez, uh who is one of the main people at Marvel, like working on stuff, but he's not, he's not the main guy, but he has information.
Yeah.
And they asked him in this Alex Perez, there it is. Uh on the and he was on the Cosmic Circus, whatever that is. He was asked like, "Are the Eternals done?" And he's like, "No, no, no, they're still around.
Mhm.
You're probably going to see them again." So it wasn't a definitive thing, but it was like I could see them bringing them back. They're not going to get their own movie again. Like I think that's done. But showing what having them cameo and stuff in the future, I think is a possibility, right? Because they had what was it, Star Fox show up at the end of the movie and a giant celestial. So it's like they had to do something with that. They can't just leave that thread hanging, I think. But I don't think a lot of people care. I don't know. Are you excited for the Eternals return?
No, not even a little bit. But I think this is equivalent to a Never Say Never.
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying about they got to revisit this stuff, but we're about to go through some multiversal shenanigans,
Uh-huh.
incursions, Secret Wars, Battle World. So, to me, it's a big giant Never Say Never
And
thing.
and that's true too, right? Because you can, unfortunately, with all this incursion and bringing the multiverse together, and you can erase anything, any threads that were hanging out there that you don't know what was going to happen with them. You can just erase them and say, oh, they got erased because of the incursions.
Yeah.
So it's a backdoor to sweep stuff under the rug that people are like, ew, the Eternals.
Mm-hmm.
But they addressed the Eternals with a little bit with that giant, now we have adamantium thanks to them,
Right.
So
I thought was fairly cool to do because we had all been, what are they going to do about the Celestial coming out of the Earth? What are they going to
yeah.
just fucking sitting there? So they did address that, but everything else is hanging on a thread. I don't know, man. That shit wasn't interesting the first time around.
No.
Yeah, I don't know what like you said, maybe put something on Disney Plus. Maybe if you got, I don't know, not going to cost you a lot of money, but I don't see its popularity ever
No.
gaining momentum.
No, I don't. Because I mean that movie bombed terribly, and I don't know anyone who's
It
like,
was
"Oh my god!"
boring.
Yeah,
It was boring. I was like, holy shit. You got a guy flying around like Superman with eye lasers. Those scenes were cool, but outside of that, boring.
right. And not only that, it's like that's the whole thing. You had a Superman level character, and what did they do in that movie? They fought this
Wiry canine things.
right canine things, and it was just like, well, what's the point of this? And they lived among humanity for thousands of years, and then it was like, okay, now our mission is to kill you all. What? Yeah, it's silly. So, speaking of things that are potentially silly, though, War Machine. So
Yeah.
Rhodes, we haven't heard from him in a while since Endgame, I believe. I mean, he made a cameo in Falcon Winter Soldier, but like that's it. He wasn't in the armor or anything like that. And in the same interview, he was asked, "Well, what's the future of Rhodey and War Machine?" So if you remember, there's an Armor Wars TV show coming,
Right.
and they're saying the reason that he hasn't been in the armor is he has PTSD from what happened in Civil War, so he's afraid to put the armor on, even though he put it on in Endgame. Like,
Yeah.
when he had to, he put it on an Endgame because they had to fight Thanos. Everyone seems to forget that he's in the movie at the end there with the in the suit of armor. But yeah, so they're saying they're going to explore that in Armor Wars, and it's like, okay, so I don't know. It sounds like they're saying, oh, we're kind of, that answer feels like, oh, we're going to explore that he has PTSD, and then it's like, okay, but are you writing him off? Like there's no mention of him being in Doomsday. We don't know what's going on with Secret Wars yet, but it's like that's it. You know, he's got to make I think he has to make an appearance in Ironheart. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I mean, that would be a really big missed opportunity if we didn't get some, Don Cheadle.
Yeah.
Which that seems perfect,
Right.
But in a world of doom and gods and multiversal,
yeah,
War Machine doesn't really have a place in that fight. So him being part of the Ironheart thing would actually make that a whole lot better for me. Because Ironheart, unlike the comics in the MCU 616, does not have this relationship with Tony Stark that properly brings her into the Iron Man legacy. So they're kind of, again, I feel that would maybe give her the connection that I guess I would need to say, okay, this is the next generation Iron Man. So yeah, with that said though, I don't think War Machine, I'm okay with him not being a part of this one. I really don't see a place for him. Particularly with them mentioning the PTSD. So I'm okay with it. I mean, I'll miss Don Cheadle because I think he plays a great character. He plays a great James Rhodes, and I like to see him in these scenes where he's kind of like the practical, down to earth, common sense person in the room.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I mean, again, I think we can get that in Ironheart or something. It's just too big of a scale for him anymore.
Yeah. He is the guy that made the joke. Well, not the joke, the comment of practical, like, well, let's just go back in time and kill baby Thanos. So,
right.
So that's interesting. It actually brings a thought to my head as well. And it's something that people don't really talk about too much, but it's like, as you eliminate characters from the MCU, so we'll start with Cap and Iron Man. I mean, you really didn't Cap. You moved the mantle of Cap to someone else, but
yeah,
Iron Man, Tony's dead, and I don't really see Ironheart taking off. I'm sorry, but you also then are getting rid of all the ancillary characters around that character, right? So like,
right.
no more Happy, no more Pepper Potts, because it's like, there's no Tony. Which, I mean, yeah, is it that big of a loss? Not really.
I mean, there's something to be said, though, that the fact that Iron Man started the MCU. So I can understand those that are like, doesn't quite feel like it's not home if there isn't, Pepper Potts and Happy and James Rhodes. So I can understand that line of thinking, but yeah, at the same time, none of those characters work if they're not in an Iron Man story.
Right. But then, I'm also thinking about, so I mean, Cap, you have Sam taking over the mantle, so there's an ancillary character who's moving on because he's now Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
And then you killed off Romanoff.
And the actor doesn't seem at all even interested in the idea of that character coming back.
Yeah. And then Bucky, who is now, senator, maybe? I don't know.
Well, I don't know. He lost that.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's the one character. Well, no, I don't say the one character, but that's one of those characters like Loki, who has persisted.
Yeah.
And is, now kind of a big deal. I mean, I guess he's always been a big deal. I think they've done a great job with the Bucky Barnes character in the MCU as a whole. And yeah, it's still a major player that people like to see.
And then with Thor, I've got to say, other than Loki, I think all of the supporting characters from the first couple movies are all gone. They're all dead.
Yeah.
Jane's dead. Heimdall was killed.
Yeah.
Obviously, Odin is dead. So it's
Yeah.
like his mother died. Like, yeah. So he really is a load. Like the other ancillary characters came, kind of afterwards, and no one cares too much about the characters from not Love and Thunder, Thor 3. What was
Oh,
what was
Civ in the something something 3. I can't remember that either.
right, but yeah, and then like the Rock guy, like okay, he's funny, but no one cares about him.
Yeah, we were done. Yeah.
Yeah, like he was a joke in that movie, and move on. So yeah, I guess they're cleaning it up. I don't know. So we'll see, because Marvel does a lot of stupid things.
Yeah. Well, I've been seeing where, Chris Hemsworth is like saying goodbye to the Thor character. What do you think of that?
I don't
I mean, I know
know.
we talked about that last week in Thunderstrike and all that.
I don't know.
But
I don't understand how, like, these actors will do a movie and they'll be like, "Oh, it was great. I'm going to keep playing this character as long as I can." And now all of a
right.
sudden they're all like, "Nah, I'm done." And I feel like I do feel like a big part of Chris Hemsworth kind of wanting to walk away is because of Endgame was so big, and then Love and Thunder was and all the MCU movies since then have been and maybe he feels like, okay, all the lightning in the bottle is gone, so it's time to
Yeah.
move on for my career. Oh, look who decided to show up. Hello, Kassan.
Hello, hello.
So yeah, I can see that.
Thor really was a big deal though for Infinity War and Endgame.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So I don't hate Love and Thunder. I'm not quite sure why that movie gets, just because it's a little bit lighter tone, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. The kids thing didn't bother me too much. I mean,
I think it was funny because my son said it best after we saw the movie. Because I said, "Oh, like they took the comedy and turned it up a notch," and he's like, "Yeah, but they were dealing with a really heavy
right.
subject, so they put more humor around it, so you could swallow the fact that Jane was going to die at the end of the movie
Yeah.
a little bit better." And I'm like, "Oh, that's not a bad argument. I'm not saying um
Yeah,
it
I
good.
don't think it's a bad argument. I think the major, I guess, sin, and I agree with this, of Love and Thunder, that of course may support Kassan's uh, chat here, of Love and Thunder is a pile of shit writing. Uh, is the way they handled Gore. I think they had a great actor for Gore the God Butcher.
Yeah.
I don't think he did a bad job, but I
I
don't think that they let him chew many scenes. He should have been just a lot more than we
Well,
got him.
again, we said this when we reviewed the movie. We've said this many times. Like Christian Bale was in a different movie than everyone else. He was in a
Yeah,
dark,
yeah,
serious movie, and everyone else seemed to be in like a slapstick comedy,
yeah.
um, and the two tones are very weird. But again, it's very dark subjects. I mean, he kidnaps kids, and he's killing all the gods, and Jane's gonna die. Like at the core of it, there's very heavy subjects in that whole movie. Yet
And then you got Zeus flicking Thor's,
clothes off,
clothes off. Yeah, in front of Valkyrie and Jane Foster. You flick
and
too hard.
you have the go between with Stormbreaker and Mjolnir and all that silly stuff. So, which I thought it was weird to like make the weapon sentient, but what are you gonna do? What does Kassan
Yeah.
say here? Gore the God Butcher should have been a Thanos level threat spanning many movies. Notable characters should have died.
Yeah, but I think we're going to get that with a lot of villains in the MCU. You could say that about a lot of. I mean, same thing
Yeah.
with Apocalypse. Phoenix. I mean, the Phoenix. One of their big problems with ever doing the Phoenix for X-Men is they try to do it in one movie.
Yeah.
Although the original X-Men trilogy, I mean, they hinted toward it at the end of X2, but it really should be this progressive thing that when
Yeah.
it happens, it makes a lot more sense. But anyway, my point to Kassad there is I think that can be said of a lot of on-screen villains.
And isn't that also true with the second Phoenix saga, where they hinted at it in, I think, Age of Apocalypse, the Phoenix Force and the Earth Phoenix, and then all of a sudden, oh yeah, full blown. It's just like, yeah, no, you're right. It should span multiple movies, not just hint at it in a movie and then all of a sudden here we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Because Marvel doesn't make good decisions all the time. Like, there's a new comic coming out, Spider-Man and Wolverine #1, and they have how do I put this politely? They've retconned Peter's parents' death, and they were killed by Wolverine.
I mean, that's a major development. And that's basically Marvel's 1A and 1B there. So, and they do have a friendship in the comics, and now they've completely intertwined them with this. So, yeah, what are you thinking there? What's your thoughts on?
Wait, real quick. I want to address Kassan's comment here. A studio should grab their sex and man up. Pay for a trilogy in the style of Lord of the Rings. Did you know that originally they were supposed to do that with Thor? They were supposed to make it a full trilogy and have a big like family squabble type story, and it was gonna end in, but like because the first movie got blah reception, they kind of started changing it. They went with mostly what they were planning for the second one, but then obviously with the third one they totally went a different direction because people weren't responding to the movies. So all right, so I just wanted to say that I think this smells of let me sell some books, right? Because I don't think it's going to stick. This is a Marvel retcon, and the retcons get retconned all the time. It doesn't make sense other than, ooh, Wolverine killed his parents. Let me buy the book to see what's going on. And also, they did this already, but in the MCU, because Bucky killed Tony's parents. So, which works for Civil War because then it becomes a catalyst for the rift between Tony and Cap, right? Because Cap is trying to protect his friend and figure out what's really going on, and Tony's like, he killed my mom. One of the best lines of that movie. So it's like, which actually elevated Civil War in the movie and made it much better than the story in the comics. But yeah, I don't know what it's okay. James says absolutely horse pucky. Yeah, he's saying they're copying the Bucky storyline from the movies. So issue 45, it was all a dream, says Kassan. So yeah, that's my like what I really think about it initially. Anyway, what do you think? Think this is a brilliant stroke or just trying to sell books?
Oh, they're just trying to sell books. I mean, all day long.
Yeah.
In fact, at this point, it's I mean, what if they just started explaining every mysterious death on, the brainwashed Black Ops Wolverine, that they could definitely trope that up some more. I don't hate it. I mean, it's interesting because Wolverine and Spider-Man do have a relationship.
Yeah.
And this totally turns that on its head Now, I haven't read any of this yet, but what I read of it is that now Peter Parker is pissed off at Wolverine and they're like fighting.
Yeah.
To what extent, I don't know. And I don't know how smart that is for Peter Parker there. A little bit of understanding might go a long way. But hey, if that's what Peter Parker did, it probably wouldn't be a comic story. So, you know, I don't hate it, but at the same time, I do recognize it is, again, they just want to be salacious. Ooh, Wolverine killed Spider-Man's parents. So it's whatever.
Well, it's funny because I feel like, are you coming from the point where you think Spider-Man doesn't stand a chance against Wolverine?
I wouldn't say stand a chance, but Wolverine in the comics literally swims in lava, comes out as a skeleton, and regenerates back. I'm not saying Peter Parker can't do a lot of damage, but I am also saying that one lucky swipe of the claws and Peter Parker's done. So
James wins. Hold on. James wins the podcast. No one learned from Martha. So go ahead. No, and I get what you're saying. I mean, he survived a nuclear blast in the comics, which was way over the top. But I feel like in this fight, there's two aspects of it. Number one, people don't realize how strong Peter Parker really is because he does hold back a lot in fights, and when he lets loose, he can go toe to toe with the Hulk. But the other thing is Wolverine. I feel like because they're going with the storyline that it was the when he was brainwashed by the Canadian government and he was sent out as a weapon. So again, it's going to be one of those things where he wasn't
free
in
healthcare
control.
and mind control. Sorry,
but so I think in that aspect he'll hold back in a fight because he should have understanding of why his friend is mad, and he's going to be trying to talk him down, not really fight him and try to hurt him, where Peter's going to just have rage and try to hurt Wolverine. So I don't know.
yeah, you know what? Have you ever seen Spider-Man punch adamantium before? And what is the result? I don't know. I don't know. I don't think it's turning out good for old Peter. But you're right. I think Wolverine would, for the most part, just kind of take the blows, knowing that he's going to survive.
James says baloney. He had 4 VCRs and a television strapped to him while Weapon X had him. Kassan, Spider-Man can go toe-to-toe with the Hulk. I'm not a fan of either. Hulk is overestimated or Marvel doesn't like the concept of internal logic. No. People underestimate Spider-Man all the time. Thrawn, brainwashed bros going on a road trip with Sentry driving. Thrawn.
But one thing I am kind of one trope though that this is incorporating that I'm really getting tired of, and they've been doing this for a while now. But we talk about the lack of creativity, the lack of something new.
Yep.
It's like anytime that Marvel wants to grab your attention, they just throw 2 heroes at each other or a group of heroes at each other.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of tired of that. Not kind of. I am tired of that.
I have said this many times than I care to admit. Like, I was out of comics for a while, and then Civil War came along, and I was like, "Ooh, that sounds interesting," and I started reading again because of that. So, It works on some levels, but this just feels
Avengers versus X-Men got me.
Yeah.
I was like, ooh. Plus, it's why is Colossus wearing Juggernaut stuff? And yeah, I had to find all.
So yeah, it's definitely.
Which he also did to Spider-Man recently. We talked about, so they're trying all sorts of stuff with again 1A character here.
Yeah. You know what would sell books? Just put him and Mary Jane back together, and you'd sell all the Spider-Man books. James says they fought in Germany. Peter couldn't hurt Wolverine. It's not his brain. It's not Wolverine. It's not his brain I'd be worried about. Peter's insane smart. Yeah, that is true. I don't know if he's Tony Stark smart, but he's definitely one of the smartest in the MCU. So I don't know. We'll see where I'm gonna. Because here's the thing, I'm gonna probably go get that book, and then I'll.
All right.
But I'm sure that's how the episode. That's how the issue ends. So you've got to get issue 2 to find out what happens. So I'll probably get the first couple issues and I'll see what it's about.
But you think they're going to retcon this? Well, I guess it's not a retcon. They never established exactly who killed.
Yeah, it's like Thrawn, or not Thrawn. Hassan said earlier, by issue 45, that was all a dream. Hey, remember they had Gwen Stacy had a kid with Green Goblin, and that was a whole thing for a while, and then they ended up retconning that. It never really happened. So yeah, they do it all the time. They float these ideas out there and see how people react to them. They sell books because of it, and then they go, oh, you know what? No, that really didn't happen. So that's the problem with comics. Kassan, I need a ranking of the smartest people in Marvel. Everyone seems to be as smart as the top guy. Who is really the smartest? Reed Richards, hands down. Reed is the smartest Marvel character.
See, I think Victor Von Doom outranks Reed Richards, but
come on, he's outsmarted outsmarted Victor Von Doom quite a few times in the comics.
That's not wrong, but I think he's gotten it back. I don't know, but here's the thing: Reed Richards only has to worry about, well, not only, but Fantastic Four. They're focusing on Doom. Doom's got to focus on the Fantastic Four, the Avengers, the X-Men, how to beat all of them.
And yet he has yet to beat all of them. So we'll see what happens in Doomsday.
Yeah, we will see. It's a good point.
Okay, wait. Then who would be
the Maker, which is also Ultimate Reed Richards?
Yeah. I was about to say it's the same character. I don't know. Probably Tony is up there.
Yep. Banner.
Oh yeah, Banner. Like Peter's smart, but he's not at the level of those guys. That's the whole thing. All right, and then we'll read the book. Maybe we'll read it and review it on the show. That might be a good idea. We need something because there isn't a lot to talk about right now. Other than, and I did not see any of the Hunger Games stuff, so I am not familiar with this actress. But we talked about a while ago. They are making a live action Legend of Zelda. I completely forgot they were making it. It's coming out in 2027. So they're starting to cast now. It's not, these are rumors. There's no one's confirmed yet.
Right.
But the rumor is that Hunter Schafer from the Hunger Games will be playing Zelda. And again, no, I don't think I saw any word on who's playing Link yet, who is the main character. So I find that odd. But I don't know. What do you think of this casting? You're the one who brought this article to my attention. I don't know anything about this person other than this article and what I read and what you shared with me, and then I did read a little bit more about that. So I'm curious what your thoughts are.
All right. So I'm not familiar with the actor. I also did not watch the Hunger Games, but the thing about the actor is that it's a trans actor playing Zelda, or not. That's the rumor. That's who they're saying is, um, potentially going to be cast as Zelda. Um, I don't really care about any of that, but I do think that's a very, very weird choice. Maybe if I hadn't have known that, maybe it could have flew under the radar and I wouldn't have cared. But knowing that, like, now I just won't be able to watch the movie, and I'm sorry whose feelings get hurt by this, but just knowing that, I'm like, oh, that's a dude, and you can tell, okay. And
Um,
and, but that aside, though, this will make this bomb because video game movies already have a tough road to hoe, let alone doing like this sort of thing that's going to catch heat. You're going to get a lot of people. They're going to protest this movie, whether you like it or not. I'm just being real with you. That's going to happen. So why would you do this? Why this is a sabotaging of your movie? I'm sure maybe they'll do it. I don't know, but it's ill advised, particularly. And I hear, oh, it looks just like her, just likes her. Okay, great. But Anna Taylor-Joy's right there, and she also looks exactly like a Princess Zelda would look. So again, I don't really have a dog in this fight. I'm not like strongly against it. Watching it would just be a little bit weird for me, but I know it's going to create a firestorm. So you're really putting your movie in a bad place when you cast an iconic female character with someone that could be, depending on who you are, not considered a woman. So I'm not trying to Matt Walsh it up. You know my opinion on that guy, but I generally think this is a bad move.
what is a woman? Okay, so first off, I want to. Thrawn says that it came out that it's a PR firm behind this, and supposedly the rumor in order to push that casting into reality. And I do think that happens a lot. Kassan says Nintendo won't let that happen. I'm going to address that in a second. And Thrawn, it's all rumor, push the PR firm. Okay. So let me address your thing first. And I think this is very true. Sadly, that there are a lot of people, regardless of where you stand on the issue, there are a lot of people who just will refuse to see this movie because of that. Mm-hmm. And I feel that number is actually growing because there's been in this country anyway, there's been a feel of that stuff being pushed down people's throats. I'm not saying I feel that way. I'm saying there's a lot of people who feel that way and they don't want to see it anymore. And so they're going to boycott movies like this. And I don't think Nintendo, who is involved with making this movie, is going to be like, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's alienate half of our potential audience right off the bat.
Yeah.
Also, Kassan says Japan won't let it. And I think, or Nintendo won't let it. And I think there is some truth to that because Japan is their culture is a very traditional, male dominant, female submissive culture. Like there's no hiding that. Anyone who knows anything about Japan knows that aspects are still very true. So I don't know personally, but I don't think it's as accepted in Japan as it is in the United States. And I think, yeah, they're going to be like, nah, that's not going to happen. But maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know, man. I mean, hey, for Cannes, movie festival and Coachella and all those little enclaves of the world, great. but it is. It really is. It would be insane if they did this. How many people they would alienate right off the bat.
Right. And that I think that's the main point here. Like, let's not, it's June 1st. So there's a lot of people who are saying it's Pride Month. So we're not trying to alienate any of them right now. What we're saying is that let's be realistic. Nintendo wants to make money off of this. The production companies want to make money off of this. They're not going to alienate half of their potential audience right off the bat. But now here, this could also backfire the other way, where if she doesn't get cast, then maybe the transgender people will be like, well, we're not going to go see this movie. I don't know. It's probably a rock in the hard place, but I think this is going to, as Thrawn pointed out, this is a rumor created by a PR firm to make that happen. So I think it'll eventually get swept under the rug. People will forget. 2 years is a long way away for this movie. By the time they have an official cast announcement, people are going to forget this. So we'll see what happens. But, I also feel like stuff like this, I've said this before, it gets put out as a trial balloon. And they see how the internet reacts to it, which I think is stupid. But if people like it, then they go with it. If they don't, I mean, I think one of the best examples talking about, being careful about alienating people and wanting to make money. Look at the Sonic movie. They put the trailer out and everyone was like, Sonic looks stupid. So they spent a ton of money fixing him to look more like Sonic from the video games. And then the movie ends up making a bunch of money. So,
well, yeah, I mean, they have a successful trilogy of movies.
Yeah. So, those companies are very well aware, like the Mario movie made a lot of money. They're watching their P's and Q's. Because that's another thing. This movie is supposed to come out shortly after the sequel to the Mario movie. So, they're going to be very careful about all of this. So, yeah, I feel like, this is a rumor, and my gut right now is telling me it's not going to happen. But we shall see. We shall see. And if you're offended by anything that we said tonight, I don't know what to tell you. We're just spitting truth. All right. I think it's time. It's that time in the night where we ask,
what did we learn on the show tonight?
And do you have any recommendations, Don?
Yeah, well, I learned that Dave does not like people messing with the origins, or at least the deaths of his favorite superhero. He's not a fan. Kassad is asking, Don, do you have the Switch 2 on pre-order? No, I missed out on that, and I spent all my money. So we'll see how that goes. Although there are some things I've learned about that, because people have their Switch 2s already, but they're not working. So, and maybe the Switch 1 is the same, and I just never noticed it. But Nintendo's can just do some, can lock you out of that system if they want to. So I don't know. We're gonna think about that one. A couple of, I don't know. I want the Switch 2, but I'm learning some things that are giving me pause. And I did miss the pre-order, so boo-hoo. Recommendations. I really don't have much. I've been busy. Recommend watching Naruto again if you ain't got much to do.
All right. Yeah, I learned that I feel like a lot of people are in our audience watching us tonight don't really care for that casting rumor about the Zelda movie. I could be wrong, but I kind of got that impression. I will say this. I didn't pre-order the Switch 2 either. My son wants one. We did do a little bit of research, and Target is not having a midnight release, but they will have it on launch day, and they are saying that they're getting about 100 units per store. So your best bet might actually be showing up at Target when they open on Thursday and grabbing one. So just saying, just putting that out there. They open at 8 a.m. and around me, and I might be at Target Thursday morning. We shall see. Recommendations. I recommend you save one of those Switches for me. No, I really don't have anything either, other than go watch Ted Lasso. Season 2 is pretty good. It's great. It's such a good show. It really is one of the best written shows. Does that mean no show Wednesday? No, of course not. Unless Don wants to go try to do a midnight release at GameStop on the Switch, but I doubt that.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no. I get to bed early enough after the show to get up and go get to Target by 8 a.m. Yeah, that's fine. I'll just log into work late on Thursday. So anyway, there won't be a show. Well, I won't be here Wednesday the 18th. And we'll figure that one out. We got a couple weeks because my birthday's the following. Well, it's both of our birthdays the following day, so we'll figure that out. But
yeah, and I may even have a trip that week. So yeah, that might be a hairy week.
Yeah. Sorry, guys, but you'll have us for a couple weeks till then. So, all right. Well, on that note, boys and girls, as always, thanks for watching. Don't let your cape get caught in the door. See you next time.
If you haven't done so yet, subscribe. It really keeps this podcast alive. Smash the like button if you please. It gives us what we need. Maybe leave a comment or two. It's a really nice thing to do. And what are you waiting